What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back to the channel today and watching another video. Really appreciate you. If you are new here and you're a jam head because you saw the thumbnail and you saw the title of this video and you thought, hey, I'll check this dude out. Let's see what's going on. My name is Mark Hopkins. I am a Baltimore-based musician and been playing in jam bands my whole life. And I've been a Phish fan, Mo fan, just general all-over improvisational music fan my entire career. So thanks for stopping in. Just really quick, just wanted to preface this video with this little tidbit. So probably 1991 or 92 is when I really heard Phish. My older brother was super into the Dead and then subsequently into Phish, and I was exposed to that stuff, and it really kind of lit my fire coming from, like, I had just started learning how to play guitar around 92, and that's when, like, all of the Seattle grunge rock stuff was popping. So that was my world. I mean, I was in middle school, right? So at that time, you know, playing something off of Junta was not a possibility. I mean, I was way too early in my career as far as being a guitar player, but I was very intrigued in the periphery by that style of music because it felt dangerous and it felt like something I'd want to get into. But there's stepping stones when you play this instrument that you have to kind of walk to get to a place. You plateau and then you find another shelf to climb up on and so forth and so on. But I got really into Phish and Trey and like the whole jam scene, but really Phish is what kind of set me off, and I found the happy medium there compared to the Grateful Dead was coming from a rock and roll world. Phish was more my speed because it was a little harder edge than the Dead. There was a rock and roll reference. You could hear Zeppelin in it. You could hear Zappa. You could hear, you know, just like great rock and roll bands. So I got heavy into Phish throughout high school and college. And I really made a conscious effort to study Trey, study his phrasing, study what harmony was being used in terms of chords and chord changes, his phrasing, his tone, everything I loved. And I really dove deep to a point where in my career on stage, when we were playing bigger venues like 700, 800 seat venues and doing a great job filling those venues, I started to realize I was sounding too much like Trey. I was getting too in the weeds with it, so it wasn't helpful for me creating my own fingerprint and having my own voice. So probably in my mid-20s is when I just stopped listening to Phish. Like, just cold turkey, just stopped. Not because I didn't love them, but because I felt like it was getting in the way of me being me. So that was a great growth period. And now, you know, 20 plus years later, I am doing a Phish tribute show with my band, Mark Hopkins and the Pretty War. We're doing it at the Cat's Eye Pub in Fells Point, Baltimore. So it's going to be me, my drummer Tristan Gilbert, keyboard player John Maurer, and my bass player Ryan Laham. All four of us are big fans of the band, so we have been steeped in this music our whole lives. We're going to do our best to pull it off and go somewhere with it that night. So it's not just, you know, a band trying to play Phish, but like authentically trying to play Phish. So what I decided to do, and this was my idea, and I pitched it to the band, and they were all like 100% in, all in. Last time we were at the Cat's Eye, we did a Hendrix night, so this is fun because we're doing a Phish night. Very different. The dichotomy's there, right? But anyway, closest thing I can come to a Languedoc is this guitar. This is my Josh Williams Mockingbird, and I'm going to do a little bit of a rig rundown, or as I call them, gear gabs on my channel, which got some great gear gabs coming up, one with the Wood Brothers very soon. So anyway, my buddy Mike from Danger Muffin was like, dude, you posted that picture of that pedal board, we got to have a walkthrough of the gear. So what I'm going to be playing on this gig is primarily the Josh Williams during the Phish set. Probably going to play it all night long. It's a killer instrument. I'm going to be playing through the 2-Rock Bloomfield Drive, which is right here behind me, and it's going to be going through a 112 cabinet. I'm not really going to have a ton of room, and like 212s is a little overkill in that room. I don't think we're going to need it. I might bring it just because it's cool to see it on stage. Anyway, so we got that, and we're going into this board right here. So let's talk about this board and how I kind of cultivated this. Trey always has a wah pedal on his board. So we got the wah pedal from Exotic. This is a 3/4 size wah. Just fits the board nice. I don't love it, if I'm honest. I kind of am not a huge fan of wah pedals that have all the Q knobs and everything, because it's like the option paralysis thing. But it's good. It sounds good. Fits well. That's why it's on the board. Don't use it all night, but I use it a bit. This right here is the Niche Devices Humboldt. This is a compressor and a preamp pedal. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I leave that on all the time. Next, we have the Digitech Drop. I use that primarily for the octave sound on it because it sounds great. Then we got the JHS Double Barrel. The right side right here is Tube Screamer. This is a Blues Breaker. This is a remote switch to control the left side of this pedal, which is the Blues Breaker. And there's a low gain and a high gain mode. So I use it to engage that high gain mode when I want to get real nasty. Then I got my trusty old Ibanez TS9. So what we're going to do is what Trey does is stack 2 Tube Screamers. So that's what we got going on here. Next, we got the Keeley Octaside, which is going to be my whammy. I might go out and buy that new Boss XS100, which is their like whammy pedal. But until then, this is what we got on the board. It's still great. So this does the whammy thing. It also has a fuzz. It has a big muff fuzz in it, which if I want to get a little bit like funky and weird with that, I can do that. Expression pedal is controlling the whammy here. I've got my 2-rock channel selector. So we got a lead channel, and then there's a tone stack bypass that is a boost that sounds awesome. Then it comes back over here. We're going into the Una from 29 Pedals. That's just like a great kind of EQ pedal, but it's also a buffer. So it is going to give me like a little bit more. It's going to boost my level after we go through all this cable. We're losing a little bit, so this gives it back to you. We got the Keeley Hydra. I got that for my tremolo, and there's also a reverb when I want to get big like kind of big room reverb sounds. I'll stack the reverb and the amp with this, and it sounds killer. Rotary from Keeley, just Leslie's speaker emulation, sounds killer. Mythos pedals, Oracle, which is my favorite delay pedal of all time. It's got a tap tempo on it. It's great. So let's hear some sounds real quick. Here's the Josh Williams. We're going to go to the neck pickup. Let me turn the Humboldt off. So here's just like my clean tone, right? And then here's the middle position. All right, bridge pickup. All right, cool. And then if I put in the bypass from the 2-rock, it just has a little bit more ass behind the tone, and then it gives you a little bit more of like a 3-dimensional boost. Sounds great. And then the lead channel on this is not to be overlooked. Cool. And then now, so you can see what the hum bolt does to the tone. Let's put that lead channel on, then I'll employ the hum bolt, and you can see how much lift you get from that preamp and the compression. Awesome. And then, so here's the 2-rock, just like neck pickup, and then I'll put the hum bolt on. Turned it off right now, but check this out. I friggin' love the hum bolt. Like I said, I leave it on all the time. I have 2 of them. One is on another board, so I never leave home without it. So just check those out. It's amazing. Jay is an amazing person. Builds amazing stuff. Here is the exotic wah. Standard wah pedal, man. Sounds great. My other complaint, and I don't mean to be complaining about the exotic wah too much, but like the foot switch on this, I don't love the foot switch. I feel like you really got to mash it to get it to go. I could probably swap that out with another switch, but regardless, it sounds pretty good and fits the board, like I said. All right, cool. Here is the drop. So I primarily use this for when I want to use like that back on the train. I think that thing sounds great. It tracks wonderfully. All right, cool. So now let's get to the fun stuff. So here is the JHS double barrel is not something that should be trifled with. It's friggin' killer. What I'm looking for with this, in terms of the settings, is this tube screamer has a higher level of gain on it, okay? So technically, the TS9 would be something that I would be clicking on first for that lower gain overdrive. So for instance, if I want to start there... What I'm looking for both of these pedals, for both of the layers of overdrive, is just what you saw. that this guitar is going to start to feedback in the right places with nice harmonic content. So the double barrel, same thing. I've got the gain much higher. So check this out. That's kind of what you want for that Trey thing, is to be able to get that sustain kicking. All right, so here I'm going to stack the two of them so you can see how that flavors up the mix here. So I'll start with the TS9, and then I'll put that on just so you can hear that kind of extra layer of gain with that extra layer of overtone and extra layer of feedback. That to me is bang on. Like, I feel like if I was on a stage, that's gonna cut perfectly fine. And then I also could employ that bypass switch, like the boost on the amp itself, just to give it a little lift. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna use the blues breaker side of this pedal, but it sounds great. I'll show you real quick. Cool. So, plenty of gain on tap. I could probably get away with using just the Tube Screamer and this and not need the TS9 maybe. But to be more authentic, I went with the TS9. All right, so here's the Octasai. The fuzz side is very, very fun, man. Okay, and then the Keeley Octasai. So it does all that fun stuff. It also does the D tune and the major second. But it'll do all the iterations of all the other intervals and stuff too. It does like major third, does a fourth, perfect fourth, fifth, sixth, and then the octaves, one octave up, 2 octaves up kind of thing, which is how I'm going to be using it. All right, and then we've got the 29 pedals Una. Now this, like I said, it's a buffer. This is kind of to beef up my signal, but what it does and what I am using it for is for the low end to come through a little bit more. Sometimes when you get that overdrive kicking, the low end can get muddy, but this kind of cleans it up. So check this out. It just kind of puts a little bit of sparkle around that low end. All right, Hydra, mostly how I would be using this would be for the harmonic tremolo to get kind of that swishy, almost univibe kind of vibe. So I love that pedal. It's got a great... It just sounds great. And then the plate reverb, like I said, if I want to have a little bit more like airy open space sound. Cool, so there's that. Very simple, but a nice plate reverb. All right, here's the rotary. So I just put in that break there. If you hold down the slow fast button, it'll do that Leslie break thing, which I love that sound. All right, cool. Here's the delay, just your standard kind of analog delay pedal. that's the gear gab, y'all. I'm pretty happy with how this sounds so far. There's a little bit more tweaking I want to do, but the show's not until January, so I got plenty of time to get that stuff worked out. But this is a very, very fun journey, and I have been liking the fact that it's taking me a little bit longer to get the Trey-isms back in my hands than I thought it would, because that just means I've been myself for the past 20 years, and I'm kind of like getting back into something that I haven't touched in a while. So I feel like this is super fun. If you have any questions about any of the pedals on this board, please feel free to drop questions down in the chat below. And if you think there's something I'm missing, or you think, hey man, you should check this other thing out, it might get you a little bit closer, I am open to suggestions. So let me know in the comments below. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I'll see you next time.